Hey everyone, how's it going? Sorry, we're running a little bit late here. Had a few issues that I had to get resolved. I'm just getting set up over here. All right, let's get this volume down. Okay, so welcome to episode 4 of Real Estate Talk with Randy Stedwell. Happy to bring you guys and announce this guy named Nick Bastianelli. Awesome guy. I actually met him for the very first time a few weeks ago at his event, and I asked him to come on here to talk about uh, everything that we're about to talk about. He's a agent. He does short-term rentals. He does some long-term rentals, I believe. We're going to get into all of that and what he thinks the state of the market is and where we should be going. So, without further ado, I want to bring up Nick Bastianelli. How you doing, Nick?
What's up, Randy? Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. By the way, your event was awesome.
Thanks,
So
man.
I'm
Appreciate it.
really happy to be there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so tell the audience a little bit a little bit more about you. And so I know we had a little bit of a bio for you, and we got that in the description if you want to read that by all means.
Cool.
But just a little brief summary of who you are, what you do, and kind of go from
Sure.
there.
Yeah. So I'm Nick Bastianelli. I'm a local real estate broker here in Southeast Michigan. So I live in Northville, grew up in Novi. I owned gyms. My wife and I opened gyms when we were pretty young. So I was 23. She was 19, I think we made the LLC, and she turned 20 when we opened. So, anyways, been entrepreneurial my whole life.
Yep.
Ran those gyms, was totally not planning on getting in real estate at all. I just
Okay.
had a mentor kind of in life and in business for a long time who owned a boutique brokerage in downtown Rochester. I
Hmm.
had a lot of respect for him, and he had a great life. I think he still does. I'm sure he still does.
Yeah.
A life that I admired. And so yeah, he owned that brokerage, and he asked me to come work for him. And I was pretty
Okay.
hesitant. This conversation it went on for a long period of time. And then he offered to basically like cover the cost. I think he covered the cost of my course for sure, and maybe the test as well. And so I
Oh
figured I'd
wow.
just go for it. Yeah, so that was cool. So I got into real estate, and then that snowballed. We ended up selling our gyms or prepping our gyms
Hmm.
for sale pretty quickly, selling them. I went full time in real estate, stacked as much cash as I could on the side, and then started buying a bunch of short term rentals within the last like 10 months. So yeah, I love real
That's
estate.
awesome. That's awesome. So that actually kind of talks a little bit about how you got into real estate as well.
Uh huh.
What were your fears about getting into real estate? So did you have any?
Oh yeah, no, I totally did. I was super apprehensive. The gyms were super fulfilling, but they weren't like super financially rewarding for us. We
Okay.
started really young. We didn't know. I think about it all the time. I wonder how I would do in that business nowadays, knowing what I know now. Um, but yeah, I was pretty apprehensive to get in real estate because I was like, I really enjoyed the stuff we were doing.
Right.
And although I'm very entrepreneurial. I have a lot of friends who have really wonderful jobs, and
Yep.
um, and so I thought, man, I'm gonna go from running these gyms and being fully responsible for my income and benefits and healthcare to jumping into a brand new industry, real estate, where it's 100% commission, and I still got to do my healthcare and benefits. So my kids were
Yep.
really young. I was super apprehensive, dude. I
Okay.
really didn't. I did not pay any attention to real estate for like the first at least 5 months that I had a license, and then a good friend of mine.
Wow.
Yeah, I did. I literally did nothing at all. And then I had a good buddy of mine who belonged to one of our gyms who asked me to help him buy his first house.
Hmm.
So I'm very grateful that Nick trusted me to do that, and that was really it. So that first house is I
That
was super apprehensive, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome because the thing is that there's a lot of newbies out there, a lot of newbies in this group that we do and we reach out that, they're afraid to make that leap. And I'm not
Yeah.
sitting here saying quit your job and go get into real estate. No, I'm not saying that. Do everything methodically. Like I fully believe in, you know, testing things to make sure that they work before you jump full heartedly in it.
Mhm.
That's me. That's my methodical brain going.
Mhm.
Um, and so I always believe in that. But dude, I'm gonna tell you, if I had a like I have a wife, but if I had kids as well, little ones, and
Dude, they're
to
so
do
little.
that, oh my God, I
I
don't know
mean,
what I would do.
dude, it's gotta help, right? I mean, we were like totally not, we were not making any money. So like, I
Wow.
did have a very low level of success I needed to achieve in order to be doing better than I was financially beforehand. The big thing for
Gotcha.
us was just it was very fulfilling. It was so nice for our kids to be in a gym every day, like building their
Mhm.
own, like whatever obstacle course and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was a risk, man. I'm in the same boat as you, right? Like, a lot of people I have people call me every week about becoming a real estate agent. And I'm really
yeah,
transparent with them about, what it takes to be successful in the industry. And I
right.
understand that people have families and they can't, all just like go all in on day one. So, you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
But it's been I mean, it literally has absolutely changed our lives for the better. So I definitely think it's worth a shot.
And that's the great thing, because the thing is that you gotta at least love what you're doing. If you
Yeah.
don't like what you're doing, there's no point of doing it. Okay.
Yeah. Agreed.
So
Especially real estate, right? It's
yeah.
challenging. We have to have tough conversations. There's a good amount of money involved. It's not
Hmm.
always comfortable. There's a lot of action which must be taken on a very regular basis in order to be successful. So yeah, you gotta like it somewhat for sure.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like, what was so you said your first 5 months that you basically made nothing, right? And it
Yeah,
wasn't,
totally.
yeah. So it wasn't until, you got your now after you got your first paycheck from doing
Yes.
those first deals, like, how did that feel?
Incredible. That was it, man. That was the light. Not getting the license. So
Yeah.
I got licensed in June something, like June 18th of 2018. And
Hmm.
then my first sale closed like, I don't remember, November 30th or something. So it was actually like 5.5 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know when we started seeing houses. That was probably a month or two. But anyways, yeah,
Hmm.
on really transparently. And I was on a 50-50 split with a big cap, for those people who are
Okay.
familiar with like the sale side. And I still showed up to close. I think the house was 224 or something like that. I showed up to close. I was only getting paid 50% of it. And I still looked at that and thought, holy shit, dude,
Right.
this is why. I mean, I worked really hard for that, very hard for that first deal. But even so, I was making
Yep.
$400 a week, transitioning to getting a paycheck for a couple grand. And I was just like, this
A-
is it. We got
And
to
that's
do it. We got to go
weird.
all in.
Yeah, and that's weird. You're only making $400 a week and you own the gyms.
Yeah, I owned two of the. Yeah, honestly, probably my wife and I were each making 400 a week. I think our best year we made like 52 combined or something. Yeah.
Wow.
It
Okay.
was not a lot. Like people thought we were like
Yeah.
balling out in CrossFit gyms. And my whole life has been very important to me to be good and like prioritize relationships
Yep.
over I always prioritize relationships over cash or income. And so
Right.
we had staff who fully operated our one location in Ferndale, and they were awesome. One on a salary, and then another
Hmm.
woman who was awesome, just per class, like 1099.
Right.
And then our other gym had full staff too. So, we weren't like coaching all day, but yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that would probably is going to be mind blowing first. If anybody knows me, here's that.
Yes.
That's what we made back then. That was my best year.
Yeah. So that was so your first deal, I mean, that's more
Yes.
so of a proof of concept than anything else. It really didn't matter about the money. It was
Uh,
more, even though it was a lot of money for you
it
because
was
that's what
cool.
you
Yeah.
make. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was more of a proof of I'm on the right track, right?
Yes.
You know.
Totally. Yeah, it was
So
wild, man. It was very cool.
so when did you get into rentals and figure out the short term versus the long term versus the mid term and so on and so
Sure.
forth?
Yeah, so we had racked up a pretty good amount of personal debt from running, like building out those gyms and stuff. And so when I got into real estate, I got that first paycheck and thought, okay, there's a lot of potential here. So my wife and I started talking about closing down those, like prepping the gyms for sale, really, like getting them off the books so that I could
Yep.
get into real estate full time as quickly as possible. But that was I mean, I guess it's probably important for your audience in particular. That took time, right? So I was
Yep.
running 2 gyms with 2 infants. I had to prep them, slowly taper off.
Yep.
Um, and then, man, I totally lost my train of thought there. What was the thing you just asked me? Oh, how did I get into rentals? Okay. So what I knew is like, okay, I have this debt which I have to take care of and be a responsible adult, right? This is like dragging me and my family down. So what I
Hmm.
did is I decided to go all in and focus on one thing, which is real estate
Yep.
sales and real estate sales only, right? I
Hmm.
know this thing just paid me $3,000 and that is the biggest paycheck I've ever seen, other than
Hmm.
whatever,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
selling my first house or something. Um, and so I thought, okay, I'm only focusing on real estate sales and I'm pretty entrepreneurial. So it's easy. It was really easy at that point in my life to have like shiny object syndrome. But all I did is think
Gotcha.
every day, I'm only focusing on real estate sales. This is paying me
Hmm.
and it doesn't cost me anything other than time and effort, which is all I really had then. So I
Right.
worked really hard and I started off by paying myself like really low. I can't remember what it was. I think I started by taking every paycheck, 20% to debt, 20% to investments, 20% to taxes, and then maybe probably started living off 40% expenses, right?
Okay.
And then, right, so I'm saving, oh, and then 20%, yeah, like pre-saving for investments essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever, I probably started at 40%. I worked my way down to 20%. And so our family, I'm paying off 20% debt every time. I'm pre-saving for taxes. All these things are getting taken care of. My life is not changing that much in the way that I live. And I'm starting to like accumulate some cash, right? That's going
Right.
down, cash
Right.
is
Yep.
going up. And I knew from the beginning that real estate investment was wildly interesting to me. So
Hmm.
I thought that was the end game. Like I thought this is where you really want to go if you want
Yep.
to get wealthy long term, right? I knew that I was in the rat race and like on the hamster wheel of commissions and I couldn't do it forever.
Hmm.
So I read every single free ebook that Bigger Pockets had. I bought a ton of their books. I listened to every
Gotcha.
freaking podcast they had all day. And
Yep.
really, all I was doing is just stacking money and learning as much as I could for the
Hmm.
day where I felt like I had gotten rid of enough debt, that I was personally comfortable participating in investment real estate. So that
And
was a very long answer,
how
but yeah.
long did that take you from when? Okay, we'll go with from you got your first deal because we know that
Okay.
was 5 months after.
Yep.
So
2018
when
end.
you
Yeah.
Yep. So until
Right.
you started like, okay, I'm gonna buy this house for a short-term rental.
Okay. So the first investment thing I did like live in flips, like I'd buy them and fix them up. I
Okay.
did my first flip that I didn't live in. I think we closed on that in December of 2021. That was like a test run with my business partner who I do all my investment stuff with, Austin Cook. Great guy. You
Okay.
should have him on here. He's awesome. And then we bought our first home in Traverse City. I think we
Hmm.
closed March 31st, 2022. So that was 10 months ago, almost exactly,
Oh
I
wow.
think.
Okay.
Yep. And so obviously it's gone fast because now we have 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so March 31st, that person had 60 days occupancy, so we had to wait. We got occupancy, whatever, in March to April, April to May. So maybe June
Hmm.
1st or something. We were up there, like just doing stuff like building out the furniture. We saw a second one, like in the same subdivision, go up for sale. We went there on our lunch break from building the furniture, gave them a crappy offer. We got really lucky because it was an out of state investor from Florida who needed to 1031. She owned this single family house. It was a newer construction single family, and she's trying to get
Hmm.
into a big commercial deal. So she needed her
Gotcha.
cash quick. So
Yep.
she didn't even counter. She just accepted our
Yep.
offer in 2021 during all the crazy bid wars, 25K under ask. We were like, what just happened, dude? So that was that.
And
Shortly
it
after
was
that,
that was in the Traverse City area, you said, right?
yeah, both were in Traverse City. So
Oh
those were
my
short-term rentals.
God.
I was just learning all day. Honestly, legitimately, I was learning all this stuff that people were doing on TikTok. I was trying to watch people who were in short-term rental space and piece
Yep.
together the software they used because I know I'm very active in real estate sales. And I
Hmm.
thought, there's no way I can add another job to my life. I'm still thinking I need to focus on what pays me. So I need
Yep.
as much software and systems in place to make this easier. So I just started like taking like, oh, I like this person's idea. I like this person's
Yeah.
idea. Me and Austin are bouncing off each other all day. And we just basically cobbled together the system of software and programs we could buy to basically like run it for us. So that
Wow.
those were the first two. Yeah.
Whereabouts in Traverse City was that at? Andrew Christine actually asked that. So,
Yeah, so we're like just Grand Traverse Bay. We're like 2 miles outside of downtown, basically.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. So we got lucky. They introduced some like serious restrictions. I don't even know if they're allowing short-term rentals anymore. We got
Hmm.
basically what happened is like 2 weeks before we were set to close on the second one,
Yep.
Austin has a good friend who lives in Traverse City who called him and was like, basically, Austin, call your mortgage broker and have them close as fast as possible. That it's going before the city that they're trying to like ban short-term rentals because there's getting to be too many. So I called my
Hmm.
mortgage broker and was like, we I don't care what fees I have to pay. I don't give a shit what happens. We need to close this immediately.
Yep.
We turned in the application the day.
You there? I don't know if I lost him or not, or if it's just me. Okay. Looks like I might have lost him. Might have him back. Just a minute. Let's see if he comes back. So he just texted me. Hold on. He's coming right. He should be coming right back in. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, it looks like it's him. So, all right. Hopefully he should be coming back. Yeah, he left the studio. He should be coming back in. Now, so this is a great time to say, anybody who is listening, put your questions in the chat just before he comes in. I will get them in here. Andrew, by the way, thank you for contributing to the chat. It is a lottery system, and he's grandfathered in on that. That's awesome. And let's hold on. He's should be coming back in. Uh, okay. Are
Hey,
you
so sorry.
there?
What happened? Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, yep. Okay, I can hear you now. So,
Oh, so
um,
sorry about that.
yeah, so that no, that's perfectly fine. We've had it done before. So,
I'm
um,
sure.
so, so where we left off was it was just before you said your mortgage broker and like, hey, let's get all
Gotta
these
close
fees. I
ASAP.
don't care what error fees, we need to close
Yep.
fast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So I called them and was like, "Hey, this needs to be done immediately." We closed, and long story short, we got approved. Like I don't know what it was, but it was somewhere around a week before those restrictions took place. So I don't know if you can even do that in Traverse City proper anymore. But we
mhm.
got grandfathered in, and as long as we don't let our short-term rental license lapse, we're okay. So, yeah,
Okay,
those
so
are the
you
first
so
two.
you do have to have a license in order to do that.
Yeah,
So what does that
exactly.
consist of?
Yeah, so anybody who wants to do short-term rentals, they should be working with a real estate agent or broker who's like familiar with short-term rentals because
Okay.
there are a lot of places who restrict or ban them altogether. So
Hmm.
you need to like you personally need to take the responsibility. Any city you're looking in, you need to personally call the city or township and see
Hmm.
if they allow them. Like some places like Nashville, I don't know what the deal is. We were looking all over the US before we decided buying Traverse.
Hmm.
I think Nashville was like really shutting them down hard, so you had to go outside of Nashville. There's a lot of places with restrictions. So I think it's different everywhere. We just had to like turn in a bunch of information, basically pay a fee,
Hmm.
um,
Gotcha.
and all sorts of yeah. It was
The,
simple, but we had to do it.
the government's got to get their cut.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think what it is the lobbyists from the hotels are pushing hard. So against
I
that.
agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. We're totally cutting another market share for sure. So I'm sure
Yep.
that's what it is.
So I believe it was, yes, Andrew again, he said East Bay Township has been nuts. People who bought for short-term rentals are ending up stuck with a 300K plus properties they
Yeah.
can only rent for 1,600 a month for long term. It's
Oh, I
crazy.
believe it. Yeah, I think
So,
we're technically in East Bay Township, to be honest.
oh
So
really?
I'm just so grateful that didn't happen to us. Yeah.
So on
Yep.
that, can you run across how do you run your numbers for a short-term rental versus long-term, and how do you figure out the price, the
Yeah.
offer price?
hmm Yeah. So there are so many caveats to this. I guess the first really important thing for people is I like to have multiple exit strategies on every deal, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
even if I know I'm going to run short-term rental, I want to have like additional options. So I guess that's the first note. That's a personal thing, but I think it's a good thing for everybody to do. I knew that even with this first Traverse City house, if I couldn't short-term rent it, then I would still like to go there with my family. So that made me feel really good. But
Okay.
to get back to like basic to answering your specific question,
Yep.
what I do is I'll pull up a property, and then what I'm going to do is I will whatever figure out if it's listed on the market or if it's off market.
Mm-hmm.
If it's off market, I'm going to figure out the purchase price, and then I'm going to go into AirDNA or BnB. I use AirDNA,
Mm-hmm.
and because I'm a real estate broker, I have access to that for free through the
Okay.
MLS. So it's usually a paid service for most people. You might be able to find a bigger pockets link where you get it cheap, but I'm going to take the purchase price. I'm going to take the link to the house. I'm going to go to AirDNA. I'm going to type that exact address into AirDNA. I'll put
Mm-hmm.
bedrooms and bathrooms in, and it's going to spit out basically like comps. Okay. So it's going to say, hey, this house is projected to make $59,000 a year
Mm-hmm.
based on these houses around it. So I like that it's actual data being scraped off of Airbnb. I feel good about
Mm-hmm.
that. Right. So it's not just like an algorithm. I mean, it's an algorithm projecting, but it's using actual numbers.
Yeah.
And then basically what I'm going to do is I'll divide that, um, across 12 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm not going to have even occupancy where I live. We're in Michigan. It's going to be very
Yep.
cyclical, probably about 68% occupancy, but I'm trying to get just an idea on a monthly basis. So
Mm-hmm.
say just say it's 60K so we can have an easy math problem. I know that's an average of 5 grand gross per month.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go into Zillow. I'll do the scroll down to the mortgage calculator. For me, we put 25% down on those things.
Okay.
You can talk to your mortgage broker, whoever that is. I think you all should call Brick Financial because they're amazing. But you might be able to get your first one on a second home loan, which is 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, whatever your down payment is, I'm plugging into that mortgage calculator and getting an estimate from Zillow. So let's just make it easy and call it 2,500. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The other important thing that everybody should know here is I am estimating future taxes as well because it's non-homesteaded. So I just
Gotcha.
look up Michigan property tax estimator.
Mm-hmm.
I put in the city. I put in the school district. The SEV is going to be half of the purchase price. So if the house is
Yep.
300K, the SEV, whatever it's going to be, or the assessed value is going to be
Mm-hmm.
like 150. And that'll give me updated taxes. So just make sure you have updated taxes in that mortgage calculator for Zillow. All right.
Yeah, and that's actually even whether you purchase a new house or short-term rental, you need to do that. And I think that's
Totally.
where a lot of people make the mistakes with running their numbers, is they don't take into
Yes.
account the updated
Future
taxes,
tax. Yes.
so because you could
I think a
have
lot of
the
agents
previous.
don't even know. Yeah.
No, yeah, the thing is the previous owner could have owned it for 50 years and they're paying $1,000 in tax, And when you buy
Yeah,
it, it's going to go up. It's going to be uncapped, and it's going to go up to 6 grand in taxes. Who knows? You know.
totally.
So,
Yep.
all right. I didn't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. Yep.
No, that's okay. That's all right. So say my average, which I know I'm not going to get every month, but average across the year, 5 grand gross. All right. And I know with
Yep.
updated taxes, and I know with like landlord insurance, right? Not
Yep.
regular home insurance, landlord insurance, you say I'm 2,500 bucks all in per month. That's principal,
Hmm.
interest, taxes, insurance, all that stuff. Right. Now the next thing I'm going to do, it depends how hard you want to stress test the deal. I try to break every deal, honestly, pretty aggressively before I'm willing to purchase it.
Hmm.
But then the next thing I'll do is I'll add, whatever 10% of you can add 10% of your gross or your
Hmm.
prepayment, whichever you want. So say 500 bucks, I'll think of as
Hmm.
CapEx, right? So capital expenses,
Yep.
I'm pre-planning for a broken furnace and AC. Now I'm at 3 grand,
Yep.
right? I don't have to account for vacancy like I would on a long-term rental because that's already built in to the gross number.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, what else am I missing here? Oh, then I need to put in software, right? I use a ton of software to run our stuff, so I don't have to do it personally. I
Hmm.
don't remember what that is. We'll just call it 300 bucks a month. So now I'm at
Hmm.
3,300 bucks a month. Say I'm at 5 grand gross, minus that 3,300. I know average 1,700, right? I'm sure I missed something in there.
Yep.
But yeah, that's, I mean, generally speaking, how we go about it.
Okay, awesome. And
Mhm. Yep.
so how do you come across, so when you come across a property, do you say, okay, my multiple strategies are the short-term rental.
Mhm.
Do you account for the long-term as well, or just for a midterm rental?
Yeah, totally. So what I would like on a single family home, I would look at traditionally I would look at short and long term. And now I have a friend who's like the midterm rental master. So that's like a new thing
Hmm.
for me to be learning the last few months. It's pretty intuitive, but
Gotcha.
previously I would just do short and long term on single family because those are the things that made most sense for me.
Yep.
Um, and I just run those two models essentially. And then at the end of the day, I also want to own a thing in a place that I like because
Yeah.
not everybody has to do that, right? I would
Yeah,
like
because
to
the thing
actually
is
like
that
the thing
okay,
I own.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
okay, be like, you know what? I'm gonna block out some time, and now I got a
sure.
place where I can go vacation. So
Yes, which is what I thought I would do. It's difficult to for me to want to go these places because like now I'm not making revenue in those times. But yeah, I mean personally, I mean I have a lot of friends who are like, dude, I don't give a shit where I buy investment properties as long as they produce enough cash. And I'm to some
mhm.
degree in that camp, but like, especially on single family stuff, like I kind of want to like it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would go short term, run it that way. Long term, what's my worst case scenario? And then I'd look at like, hey, if I got to flip it, or not really flip it, but say I have to sell it, what's the
Mhm.
worst case scenario? If I can accept the worst case scenario, then I'm down.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, and then with the purchase price, you just make sure that you, what kind of return are you looking for, say, the worst
Sure.
case scenario, or a long term or a short term, or are you looking for a couple $100, for the worst case scenario? Are you looking,
Mhm.
to best case scenario, a couple grand? I mean,
Sure.
what does the profits look
Yeah.
like?
So, yeah, that's a great question for long-term rentals. I don't own any long-term rentals personally. My business partner Austin has a whole portfolio of those before we started doing short-term together. I'm sure
Right.
I'll own long-term rentals, like apartments are appealing. So if I was looking at long-term, I'd want 100 bucks per door minimum.
Hmm.
Short-term, I don't really have a number in mind, to be honest. They make a lot of money, so I haven't really had to establish a low number because I'm pretty
Gotcha.
satisfied with the ones we purchased. I think I'd
Hmm.
want to at least make a grand per month on those, like minimum. There
Hmm.
is, especially if you're not utilizing all the software and systems we're using, like that could end up being a lot of work. And so I would want to be rewarded well, right? Like you got to
Yep.
turn over the property every time somebody goes. And if you're not paying a professional cleaning company to do it, like that's hours of work. So, um, I don't really have a number, but I guess I would want a grand at least per door there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Net.
Gary Corbin actually asked, this lots of good info. What is midterm rentals? And I guess we
Okay,
didn't really
cool.
cover that too much. So everybody knows what short-term rentals is. Everybody knows what long-term rentals are. But what is short or mid-term rentals?
Yeah, so I should have thought to say, people ask me this all the time, right? For clients and stuff in real estate sales. I think if short-term rentals is everything under 30 days. I don't let anybody go past 29 days on my short-term rentals because I'm kind of paranoid and I don't want them to have tenant rights because I don't want to go through the process of evicting them. So I think a
Yep.
short-term rental is 30 days and under, right? For me, it's 29 days and under, so I have a day of buffer. I think of
Yep.
midterm as anything between 30 days, so 1 month and 12 months, less than that, I think of as a midterm rental. And then I think
Okay.
of long-term rentals as 12 plus months, right? Midterm rentals are not typically close to 12 months, right? They're a lot of times
Yeah.
like 2, 3, 4, 6 months. This is
Yeah.
typically travel nurses, travel medical people in general. This could be
Mm-hmm.
whatever, insurance, like a lot of like fire damage, water damaged houses. Insurance will pay for somebody
Yep.
to stay there. Other midterm rentals are professional athletes, all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, hope
Okay.
that helps.
Awesome. Yeah, so that really helps a lot of people out there. And corporate rentals, but keep in mind it very follows the rules with short-term rentals where it's still fully furnished. So that's why you
Totally.
can ask for the higher number. For a normal long-term rental, it's looking for $1,600. A midterm rental, you're probably looking at, 26 to $3,600, a month.
Mhm. Yeah.
Am I off a little bit? I mean, is it close to
No,
what
no,
I?
I think that's totally accurate. Yep. And then
Okay,
like short-term rentals for me, like in a worst case, they're usually like, I mean, in a worst case scenario, they're double long-term rent, but like they're usually like four times, somewhere in the 2 to 4x of like long-term rent. So
gotcha.
yes, is a
Okay.
very vague general number.
It all depends on the area, right?
It does, totally.
So
Yep.
it's hit and miss. You go downtown Detroit and you might have some there, but you go in the outskirts. Unless you're close to Royal Oak, who knows how many is there? And I haven't really looked at the market for short-term rentals here in our local area, so I don't know.
There's a
Um,
dude, there's so many. It's wild.
yeah.
And it's because of good hospitals. Like people will bump
Yeah.
up
Okay.
against good hospitals, right? So
Yep.
it's wild. The people typically think of short-term rentals as only vacation stuff.
Hmm.
Which is probably the bulk of it, right? Like it's nice to have one in a vacation area, but also like for short and midterm rentals, getting close to like good hospitals is like a big deal. So
Gotcha.
yeah, like Royal Oak, Woodward Corridor,
Hmm.
Royal Oak, Ferndale. That area, there are a
Yep.
lot of short-term rentals, dude. So many.
Yeah, I grew up
Ferndale.
there.
Wait, did I say
I
Ferndale? Yeah.
yeah,
Did you?
Ferndale. Yeah,
Oh, nice, cool.
yeah. I grew
It's a
up
good
off
spot.
Spencer Street in Ferndale.
No
So,
kidding, dude. We
yep.
owned a gym at 9 in Hilton. That's where our second gym was.
Oh, nice. What was the name of it?
It was Rise Athletics. Well, we had
Oh,
Rise
okay.
Athletics in Farmington Hills, and then Rise Athletics Ferndale was that location.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I grew
Yeah,
up over
so
there off of Hilton. Um,
very
so
cool.
yeah, and yeah, I seen it when it was not so the way it is now to where it came to. So
Yeah,
it's come a long way. Um,
it has for sure.
yeah, but yeah, so kind of understand that, and I think that's where the housing prices over there just kind of like skyrocketed. Not only because of that,
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously because of the value too.
Mhm.
But it's really crazy. So one thing I want to bring up here as well is I think you do something great that not a lot of other people with short-term rentals do. And I
Okay.
think you actually everybody wants to do it themselves. Okay. Like, I'm going to try
Mhm.
and do it myself. I'm going to, do this, or I'm going to hire somebody. I'm going to hire a property manager to do this. I'm going to hire do. One thing that I've noticed with when I came to your event is that you actually set up automation systems.
Yeah.
Okay. And setting up automation systems where you're basically hands off the whole
Mhm.
thing. Just all you do is buy the property, you get it ready, and then you put it into your automation system where it
Mhm.
goes to the three sites. And,
Mhm.
and then if one of them books it, the other ones can't. it goes into a central
Yeah.
calendar. And if I'm saying
Yeah.
any of this wrong, please let me know.
No, you
So,
are. You're doing good. Yeah, yeah, you're doing good.
and
Yeah, you want me to
then,
explain it briefly? I can give them
yeah,
a high
please
level
do.
overview of
That
it.
I think that's
Okay.
where everybody's going to get the value here is it's this automation system that you're doing.
Sure. Okay, so basically what we do is, all right, so people ask me all, this is an important note. There's going to be people watching this today and everybody asking this every time I talk about short-term rentals. Like, what if there's a change in Airbnb? Or like, what
Mhm.
if the short-term rental market gets oversaturated? What if the short-term rental market evaporates? All right, so it's a wonderful question and one I thought a lot about before I got involved. But I operate our short-term rentals like a business. I am not
Yep.
operating it like a mom and pop, like, you know, it's just like a
Hmm.
business for me. This thing makes me money and it's important. And so I dedicate time to like systematizing it and making it a professional, repeatable, referable experience, just
Yes.
like I do in real estate sales. So we prep our homes with nice furniture. Step one, we get professional photos. Step two, please don't skip $300 photos because you're going to, like, when I think of trying to not, I'm okay. So I'm thinking, I'm going to save $300 on pro photos. That's literally one night, like
Hmm.
one extra night. So get the damn pro photos. Then we build out a list. Every single home or every unit gets Airbnb, Expedia, Booking, Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, and Booking.com. Okay, so every
Hmm.
unit is on 4 places. All right, and none of I don't have to pay to be a part of any of them. I mean, they're going to take some of the money that I make, but I don't have to like
Right.
pay them money per month. All right, which is cool. I think
Hmm.
all of those are going to blend into a multi-calendar. Right. So just like you said, I can't get double booked. So if somebody books me on VRBO, it's no longer available in the other places.
Right.
Then we prep all of our homes. We use smart locks. So we put a smart deadbolt on. And then we go a step further because Austin and I live, Austin, me and my wife, we're 4 hours and 10 minutes. Austin's 10 minutes for me. So he's
Yep.
4 hours and 15 minutes or whatever. So we have smart deadbolts. And then we put what's called a passage door handle on the actual door handle on the front doors. We
Hmm.
do that because there's no lock. They can't lock themselves out,
Yeah.
right? So we smart lock, passage door handle. Then we go a third step further and we put a lockbox, like old school lockbox on there too. All right.
Hmm.
So the multi-calendar we have built out so that the multi-calendar generates a code for this specific guest, sends it to them. I don't remember what it is, 3 hours beforehand. And that
Hmm.
code only begins to work on that smart lock 15 minutes before their check-in. Their check-in is at 4 p.m. and it dies 15 minutes after their check-out, which is 10 a.m. Right? So we don't
Right.
have to manually create codes every day. We don't have to do that. It's automatically done because we built it in the system.
Yep.
Right? And if there's any issue, they can call us and I don't have to worry about sending somebody over there. I can say, here's the lockbox code, or here's the master code for the deadbolt, right? I don't tell them it's the master code. I say, oh, let me generate a backup code for you.
Yep.
And I give them a backup code. What else? I have built out automated messaging. I think there's 9 messages and emails, something like that, from the second somebody books throughout their entire life cycle with us until after they leave. So every
Hmm.
question they could ever have is already answered. There's a link to our house rules. Check in, check out. I'm so sorry we're not flexible on check in or checkouts because we have a professional cleaning service. So the house is actually clean. And
Hmm.
so all the automated messages go on their own. We don't have to do that. We have smart pricing software integrated with the multi-calendar. So people are always like, do you have to update the prices every day? No, I've never updated. I don't do that at all. Smart pricing
Hmm.
does it for me, and it does it based off of other houses nearby. And so the
Hmm.
next question is, well, don't you have to jack it up for the cherry festival when it's crazy? At which point I say, it's already built in because everybody else is going to get booked up faster too.
Yep.
So like, is it automatically going to be increased? I don't have to do anything. Um, God, what else? We have a great cleaning lady. She's the best, and she has our calendar. So
Hmm.
she doesn't have to ask us when to clean. She has her own cleaning code. So I can see on the
Hmm.
log when she goes in and out of the house.
Okay.
She just I mean, there's no, I mean, she's just hired. She goes when somebody checks out without telling us, and then she just bills our account, and that's it. And
Gotcha.
I think I covered it all there, man. But
So
that's how we,
how many different pieces of software are you using for this automation?
okay, multi-calendar, smart lock, smart pricing software. The automated messages are part of the multi-calendar, so that's not separate. So I guess if you include the cleaner, 4 things, but the cleaner, it's really just 3 pieces of software, I think, maybe 4. Not a ton. Pretty easy.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome.
And then
And
it is awesome. And pretty much all we have to do is
yeah.
like if somebody steps outside of the normal, like the stuff that are messages and emails, right? So if something weird
Hmm.
happens, like say the battery died on the deadbolt is a perfect example of something which may occur.
Yep.
Then that person would call us. But it's really just a couple phone calls and texts a week, actually, honestly.
That's awesome. So,
Mhm.
Andrew said, "What software do you use to manage your channels?" We kind of just answered that.
Mhm.
So now you're sending these off to Airbnb, VRBO, and
Mhm.
what other ones? Uh,
Expedia and Booking.com. But
Expedia and
honestly,
Booking.com.
yeah, so those are the 4, but honestly, like that I'm not like a huge fan of those 2.
Okay.
Airbnb would be my highest priority, right? They get a lot of like flack online, but still,
Yep.
I think I don't know. I haven't looked.
So I think
90+% of our traffic is from there. That's the highest priority for sure. Then VRBO and then Expedia and Booking.com are just like, why not have them for us?
okay. So what's the software that you use to actually push out your listing to all those 4?
Host away. Just look up multi calendars
Host
and
away.
figure out the one that you like the best. Yeah. But host
Gotcha.
away is the multi calendar that I use.
Awesome. And
Hmm.
so when there are maintenance issues and things like that, does your cleaning lady tell you, or like for instance, a battery dies on the deadbolt? Like, how does
Yep.
that all like? Do you call a maintenance guy? What is the procedure for that?
Yeah. So this is the usually the next big question is like, what happens when the house needs repaired? Like, how do you know it needs repaired? And the easy answer is either a guest is going to tell me or the cleaner is going to tell me because there's somebody
Hmm.
there all the time. And
Right.
so this totally happens. This has happened countless times. I don't even know how many times since the first one went up, and I think the first one went live end of June. The second one went live July 4th, something like that. I don't even know how many times. 6 times, I'd just guess. Close.
Right.
Many. We just, I mean, I do this exact same thing a normal property manager would do.
Hmm.
Is I just call a local person who is licensed in whatever it is. So I have a favorite company that does plumbing, heating, cooling,
Yep.
and all handyman services. They're properly licensed in Traverse City. I literally have a tab with them. Like I have an open line of credit and
Hmm.
I just call them and book it for a day that nobody's there. And that's that. I mean, same
So
thing any property
so
manager would do.
Awesome. So, as far as the cleaning, when do they come in? Is it like a normal hotel where you check out at 11 and then the cleaning lady comes in and then you can check in at 3 for the next person, things like that?
That's Yeah, so that's exactly what happens. So this is another great question that pops up a lot. I think a lot of people, this is an important area where a lot of people have a really hard time establishing and maintaining boundaries with their people. We're really clear
Hmm.
in all of our emails and messages that like, hey, this is our checkout time. Our checkout time is 10 a.m. They get that. That's the first message they receive along with the house rules. Our check-in time is 4 p.m. It's said multiple times in the messaging before they ever get there. So
Yep.
we don't have a huge issue with people on this. But every once in a while, somebody will ask, can I check in early or can I check out late? At which point in time I say, hey, look, like I would love to do that. I'm so sorry. But we regularly have you checking out in the morning and somebody checking in at night. We only have that 6 hour window from 10 to 4. and we pay a professional cleaning company who literally like actually sanitizes and cleans the
Yeah.
whole house. I can't eat into it. I am so sorry if it's an issue. Like we're probably not the place for you, but we just want to make sure we have a repeatable, incredibly clean home for you. So we can't let you stay late, but I promise it's going to be really clean when you get there.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
that's our messaging around it. It's 10 and 4. We're like,
Yep.
we don't deviate at all.
Yep, that's awesome. So, the thing I actually liked about so the booking.com and Expedia, the thing I like that you go
Yep.
to those is because you get those people that don't normally have never done Airbnb or a VRBO, you know.
Yes.
And for me, I've actually never done an Airbnb. I rented
Oh,
a
cool.
place. I've actually rented a place in Milan when I was there for vacation,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I did it through Booking.com, and then I've come to find out it's actually an Airbnb. But I did
Oh
it through
my gosh.
Booking.com. I had
Wild. Yeah.
it was a whole apartment. I had to check in. Like it was a one bedroom little flat or whatever. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Dude, that's nuts. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think that's awesome, right? We have that. We have those for that exact reason. The traffic is less, but it's not a reason to not have them, right? It's great. So
exactly.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with that, what is, going forward, what is your plan for the future? I mean, how many do you have right now, and what are you trying to get to? And are you trying to break into different markets?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so when I originally started, I was looking all over the US for places that worked for this. And I love Northern Michigan and I know this area really well, right? So there's
Yep.
probably cooler spots, but the numbers are great for me. And I
Hmm.
know all up north. Like I've been going up there my whole life. So
Yep.
expanding in other markets, dude, I'm totally open to it. I have buddies who buy all over the place who make my portfolio. They have thousands of doors, right? Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so I have two short-term rentals that I own 50-50 with Austin, and then we syndicated a whole hotel. So it's a 15-unit hotel, 3 single families on site, so that's 18 units. So that's how I got to 20. The goal
Gotcha.
is to have 100 units by my birthday, which is July 31st, obviously this year. So I have I have 6 months to get 80 more, which sounds like a lot, but I have
Yeah.
7 under contract set to close by the end of February, and I
Hmm.
should have a 26 unit under contract, I hope, by the morning. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, commercial negotiations are long. We're verbally agreed. A 26 unit that I can at least make 28, maybe 29. So yeah, that's where
Gotcha.
we're at right now, and that's where we're trying to go. I did not plan. Yeah, whoever just said they'll find me some deals, hit me up. I did not plan to be
Yeah.
a short-term rental guy. I really want a shitload of apartments for anybody who's
Yep.
willing to look for deals with me. I will bring you in. Bring me all the apartments you can find. I will also look at like inns and non-branded hotels. I don't want anything to do with like you know big brand hotels. That's not my jam.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So the guy who said that they'll find you some deals, his name is Andrew Castine. He lives up in the
Cool.
Traverse City area, maybe a little bit more
Nice.
north, but he's an awesome guy. I work with him. I've worked with him a couple times, but he comes down
Nice.
here every so often. So great guy to work with,
Yeah, hit
and
me
he's
up,
always
dude.
getting deals. So, and then Larry Shepard asks, "What's your cash flow after expenses with what you have now?"
Oh man. Okay. So current, I'll give you current. I'm not, and then I'll tell you what pro forma is for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
band.
yeah.
Okay. So this is where we could get all like I can make it sound mind blowing and be
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
sick for TikTok, right? But I'm going to tell you the real deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
real deal. Let's talk about the 2 single families. Those will probably gross 90 comfortably each. Okay. So we'll just call it 90 each. It's
90K.
180, probably 90K each. All right.
Okay.
And we'll just call it a 50% expense ratio, but then, we got to reduce by debt. So worst case, I'll personally owning 50%, just my part, pull a grand net per month. But what I really do, I don't even track that because I use that money. I don't like pay myself with it.
Hmm.
I use that to buy other deals, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
So what you do is just assume 50% operate, 50%,
Yep.
um, operating expenses there. The hotel, um, I found out because it's syndicated, I can't share exact numbers, but anyways,
It's okay.
it grosses, it grosses a lot.
Yep.
Previously, it grossed about a half mil. We can operate off 50. They were not operating at 50% expense ratio, is lower. So, low 200s
Hmm.
netted. We'll increase it a lot. So we'll
Yep.
grow it to, actually, maybe I can because it's a case study. I don't know how far this goes. This is recorded, but we'll increase our gross income to a lot, really high 800s
Yeah.
off that property. And again, 50% expense ratio. So I own six
Hmm.
personally, my LLC, because we syndicated it. I had to do a lot of stuff to make that deal work for all of us. I personally own 16% of that one property, right?
Gotcha.
Austin owns another 16%. We have two more GP partners, and then
Hmm.
we have a bunch of LPs, right? Private investors who invested with us.
And so in that syndication, how much did you raise for that? Did you put any of your
We
own personal
raised,
money?
I did, yes. Yep. So there's 50K non-refundable EMD there. So me and
Hmm.
Austin covered that. We covered all due diligence. We were probably all in 90, 95 or something like that, I would say. Probably 95 to
Hmm.
be safe. We raised 1.34 mil,
Okay.
which includes all of our renovation and design budget. So all new furniture, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that answers all of your questions.
Yeah. So, and then one thing I want to ask was, how did you come across doing the syndication real quick? Like,
Sure.
I mean, everybody like, oh yeah, syndication, but there's, I mean, lawyer fees, there's thousands of dollars. I mean, I've heard somebody say,
Tons.
spend almost 100 grand on just the lawyer paperwork, you know?
Yeah, that would be extreme. That person would, I have no idea how you get there. Our attorney
Yep.
fee specifically on that one deal. Okay, so the important thing to know is, right, you have more than one outside person participant. One person, two entities is a JV. Beyond that,
Hmm.
you're in a different area. We have
Yep.
13 LPs. So now we are being overseen by the SEC, which means because we want to be legit, we want to do this legally and do it really great,
Yep.
protect our people the best of our ability. So we don't cut corners. We hire an SEC attorney. Our SEC attorney prepared all of the documents, the SEC filing, the operating agreement, subscriber
Hmm.
agreement, the PPM, all that stuff. I think our attorney fee on that deal was like 12,600 or something, which I find to be
Okay,
pretty normal.
that
We've
is
talked to a bunch of
that is good.
SEC
Yeah.
attorneys, and the norm is like 12.5 to 15 per deal. So
Gotcha.
you have to take that into account. And to go back
Yep.
to your question of where did I learn this, me and Austin were on our way driving from Traverse City back down to Metro Detroit, Northville and Plymouth. We were listening to real estate podcasts as we do. We heard a guy named Tim
Yep.
Bratz. I don't even remember whose podcast he was on. Tim Bratz was on there. And we were like, holy shit, this guy is cool. Like he went from zero to whatever. He got over 4,000 units in, I don't, whatever, 5 years or something. And he
Right.
had this course going on called Commercial Empire, which was like a grand in like a week or
Hmm.
two. So we're like, dude, well, absolutely. I'm a huge believer in investing in your brain and, right, that's an
Right.
excellent use of funds. So we signed up, and that's where we learned syndication. And so we leaned on them very heavily. A great, we're part of that mastermind still. Tim is awesome. His whole crew we
Hmm.
know very well at this point in time. We had his guy who does all acquisitions underwrote that deal for us before we ever went under contract. We got his blessing. He said, absolutely, this is a great deal. I've double checked it. Looks good. Go get it. Then we had
Gotcha.
their on-site legal counsel look it over, and so they hooked us up with like, tons of referrals. Their staff looked
Mhm.
at it and then they gave us outside referrals to help us process it through. So,
Well,
we
that's
paid to be in
awesome.
the right room. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
that mastermind, right? I think that we're like grandfather or something. I think we pay $12.50 a month to be part of that.
Mhm.
But I mean, think about it. This one deal is going to
This
pay
one deal's
me
gonna pay for the whole thing.
for my
You
whole
know?
life. For my whole
Yeah.
life. And so when people say stuff to me like, it's crazy that you spend $12.50 a month on one mastermind, I'm just like, is it though? Like, is it actually crazy? Because I wasn't doing any of this before, and now I get to talk to
Yeah.
people all the time who literally actually have many thousands of units. And so I just got in the right rooms, right? Like, going
Mhm.
around here, being part of a 20-unit portfolio sounds really great, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but it sounds like a decent amount. And then I go there and I'm just like, I need so many more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just,
So to
it's
me, it does sound
normal for them.
crazy. To me, it does sound crazy if you're not going to take action. If you're going to take action,
Totally.
then it's 100% a no-brainer, you know?
It's so doable.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, right? You just got to get around people who are doing what you think is crazy on a regular basis. Like this is so normal for them. Like a 26 or a 28 unit deal is like small for them, like really small. Like a lot of them are just
yep.
buying hundreds of units at a time and giant portfolios, new construction stuff that costs tens or
Hmm.
100 million plus. And so there's us. We're like, oh yeah, this one's 2.5. And they're like, cool. Do you need any help? you know,
Most definitely.
and I love that.
So,
I love that.
and that's where you start to meet people, you build those relationships, and you know what? On the next deal, they need some money coming in. Hey, can I get a portion of that and ride their coattails?
Yeah,
And you
for
learn from
sure.
that deal so that you can be the head of the next one. And so, so are you guys
Yep,
managing this project, or is somebody
we
else
are.
going to manage it? Okay,
No,
you
yeah,
are.
yeah. So here's how. Yeah, so we set it up. Me and Austin are basically set up as like the asset managers essentially.
Hmm.
So we're both very familiar and very comfortable with like construction and renovation. So my dad's
Yep.
been in the construction industry like my whole life in some capacity. He builds a ton. I did some construction for a couple of years, like during college. I just love that stuff.
Hmm.
Austin, they own a building company. His dad's been a builder and developer for whatever, ever, forever, 35,
Yep.
40 years. Probably has developed, we should ask him, 4,000 lots. I think it's probably safe, an insane amount of houses.
Right.
So what happens is that's me and Austin's job is I got the deal under contract, negotiated the whole way through, processed all the paperwork, right?
Hmm.
Got us to the finish line. Me and Austin put together the SEC filing and the offering together. We presented it. We raised the funds. We brought in a good friend named Rafa Loza, who's the bomb. He runs the same model we do in short-term rentals. So we brought him in, gave him some equity so that he is the property manager, right? Once
Gotcha.
we closed, all me and Austin had to do, I shouldn't say all because it's still a lot, we oversee all of the renovation.
Hmm.
That's all us. All right. So we need to
Yep.
make sure that is all smooth. We stay within budget, get it done on time. And then we sit back into the asset manager position where we are
Hmm.
overseeing the bookkeeper, the CPA, and Rafa, who's doing property management. And we make sure that quarterly distributions are given out to our LP investors on a timely basis. Right. So
Gotcha.
um, that's how it's set up for that deal. But we can
Yeah.
do whatever you want. And that can be set up
Yeah.
however you want.
That's awesome. So the property manager, is he going to be on site every day property manager?
No. So he
Okay.
lives in California. Yep. So we
Uh,
met Rafa in that same group I told you about, Tim Bratz's group, which is called Legacy Wealth. If anybody wants to get involved with it, hit me up. I'll give you a cool little referral code there. Um, but we met Rafa at one of those events. I think it was in Dallas. And he was crushing it on short term. Oh man, your system's really similar to ours, except your 80 gazillion units ahead of us.
Hmm.
He's running the arbitrage model. I don't remember how many units he had back then, but it was probably 50 plus. And then
Gotcha.
um, he had a whole staff of VAs. So we were very impressed with how he operated.
Hmm.
And so when we got the band under contract, um, I, me and Austin called a bunch of the people in Legacy family that
Hmm.
mastermind, and we're like, "Hey, do you know Rafa?" People knew Rafa. Well, we should do a deal with Rafa. Like, would you trust Rafa with your money? Would you trust Rafa managing your property?
Yep.
And they all unanimously said yes. So that's
Gotcha.
how he can be involved in the deal. He is remote, but we do, because it's 18 units. There's going to be a lot of cleaning. It's going to be slammed spring, summer, and early fall. We do have a
Hmm.
lady on site who cleans and kind of like sees the property full time.
Okay. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. So, real quick, how can the community here help you
Sure.
with your future endeavors? And then, how can they get a hold of you in order to help you out?
Okay, cool. So you can find me on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, at
Hmm.
Nick Bastianelli or at the Bastianelli team. So that's how you can find me. My phone number is everywhere on the internet. It's available. Um, and then how you can help me, I would like to see as many deals as possible. I'm happy to bring
Hmm.
people in if you, however you want. If you bring the deal, I'll make sure there's a way that you are compensated. But I am
Hmm.
looking, primarily for apartment complexes. I will also look at self storage, triple net, and inns. The bigger the
Hmm.
better. I have no cap on budget. Um, Michigan would be cool, but you can send me stuff wherever. We underwrite really quickly, so send me anything you think is a deal. That's for sure. Send them all.
Gotcha.
Nick at
Send them all.
bastinelli.team is the email. Yeah.
Nick at Bastianelli Teams, uh, dot email.
Bastinelli.team. Yep.
Bastianelli
Yeah, so
dot
I'll
team.
type it
Okay.
in. Yep, I'll put it in this little chat box here.
Yeah.
There we go. And then at
All
Nick
right.
Bastinelli at the Bastinelli team. There you go. You got it all. Did I put that
Awesome.
in private chat
So
or is that with everybody?
it's in private chat, but I'm copying it over to the regular chat here. So,
Cool.
um, but yeah, so we can do. Let's see here. I'm continuing to do that, but so what primarily? So do you own homes in the local Metro Detroit area besides your
Yeah,
personal
so
home?
nope, it's my primary.
Just your primary?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like very not opposed to owning stuff that I actually, for me, this is the thing I was like really thinking about and concerned about in like early before I actually got involved in real estate investments. Like when I first got involved in real estate and sales, and I'm reading all these
Mm-hmm.
books and all these podcasts, and I think, man, I got to be close to the things I own. And now I actually don't. I actually don't want to be close at all because I
Gotcha.
think people fall into the trap of then doing stuff on their own,
Mm-hmm.
which allows you to not operate it like a system, like a business, or put processes in place. So
Yep.
I know that I'm forced to treat it well and treat it like a business and set up all the stuff that I should to make it run to the best of its ability if I can't drive to it, in 7 minutes. And I love that.
And that's one thing that I think is really interesting about your system is that you're doing the automation. I
Mhm.
think the automation and you treating it like a business in the way it is, that's going to help you expand. The fact that you did that early on
Yeah.
is 100% help you grow for the future long term. So
Yep.
my day job, I work in the automotive industry and we do testing
Oh,
and some
cool.
automation. So I
Nice.
100% understand that. So, yep.
Yeah, even
So,
like, so I would love, we have short-term rentals. We're getting to be known for that sort of thing, which is cool. But even like on apartments, I would do the exact same thing. Like I'm totally not nervous to be really far away from those. I would prefer it.
yep.
I would still have multiple layers. So I
Hmm.
right now we would have a property manager for like for those people who are doing apartments or even single family. I would have a property manager. And then for us in the apartment world, we would have an asset manager, which for now is me and Austin. But eventually, as we
Mhm.
scale up, we'll hire an asset manager who will come in. And so there will be multiple layers of oversight on all these properties always, because we just want to make sure they're really well taken care of.
That's awesome. So, Larry Shepard asked, what's your underwriting process for properties out of state? Determine what you want to invest there, and when you get a deal sent to you.
Hmm.
Sorry,
Okay, cool.
invest there when you get a deal sent to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends on the asset, but let's just say like, apartments because they're easy. Basically what I would do is I'd be trying to get on the phone with somebody who operates in that market. Not, you're not on the phone, maybe it's Facebook. It's probably actually going to be Facebook in my commercial group.
Hmm.
And I'll figure out what those like properties in that area of that asset class. Let's just use apartments. I'm just going to make some place up. Like let's say apartments in like Georgia. I try
Hmm.
and get in contact with somebody who's like a very active apartment investor in Georgia.
Hmm.
Or if I don't know anybody, then I could call commercial commercial real estate brokers in Georgia in that area.
Yep.
And all I'm trying to do is I'm figuring out the cap rate that those are trading at, right? For like a
Hmm.
nice renovated, updated place. I'm always looking for light value add in like C plus and above areas. Okay. So I don't want like war zone stuff or total gut. Like I got to start from like framed, apartment or something.
Hmm.
But I'm just figuring out a cap rate and then I'm just running it through a calculator essentially. I mean, commercial properties are pretty easy to do like napkin numbers on. So yeah, I just utilize that cap rate to figure out what my offer is at that point in time. You know, if I know the value out, I'll reduce it by that. But there's a gazillion calculators out there. Like we have, a legacy family calculator from Nick Burton. I mean, just look up like
Hmm.
underwriting calculator for apartments and you'll find a bunch online. Who's that other
Okay.
guy? Invest with Ace, I think, has a good calculator. David Tupin, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He has a calculator. So we utilize those, but I think you
Hmm.
should also be able to, honestly, you need to be able to evaluate the numbers yourself.
Yep.
So when I look at a property first, all I'm asking right off the bat is like, hey, what needs to be done this property? Like have the kitchens and bathrooms been updated so I can get a ballpark renovation number per room. And
Hmm.
then I ask for a net operating income, and that's literally all I need, right?
Hmm.
So, do you want me to actually? I mean, I can do one if you guys want a simple one. That'll take
Yeah,
like
that'd be great.
90 seconds. Okay, cool. So let me see if I can math this out real quick. So let's just say somebody tells me, I'm just going to make it up so it's really easy for us, right? Let's
Hmm.
just say I don't even care about the units. Let's just say somebody tells me their net operating income on an apartment complex, this exactly the same for short-term rentals or short-term or like an inn, has 100K net operating income. All right. Now
Hmm.
I know that let's use apartments. Okay. Say they're trading at 6.5 cap. I'm dividing by 0.065. That's 6.5%. Now I know my max allowable offer, 1.538. Say I know there's 100K in renovation, whatever. Now I'm at 1.438 is my offer on that thing, right?
One point
So
four
just, I
three
mean,
eight
like,
million.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So you just keep going, like just get really like go online and watch YouTubes on like how to use net operating income to figure out an offer. It's pretty easy.
Hmm.
So it was like it's confusing when you start, or I mean, it was for me, but then you just
Yeah.
it's just like anything, right? It's like evaluating a
Hmm.
flip or like a long term rental or single family like wholesale deal. The more you do it, the better it is. So I just make a goal for myself of maybe evaluating like 2 properties per day until I get really comfortable and can just do it right off the bat.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, Andrew Castine says super easy. Value equals NOI divide by cap rate. You
Exactly.
know.
Yep. Totally.
Yep. So 100% or value times cap rate equals projected NOI. So
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
So
just look up look up the math problems
yeah,
online. It's pretty simple. I love commercial because it's literally just a math problem. Like,
yes,
single family, we're having to pull comps, same city, same school district, usually within a mile, same style of home. But commercial is literally just a math problem. Like if I increase net operating income by X amount, then the value of the property goes up by X amount. And I really like that.
gotcha. Okay. Awesome. So we already got people how they can get a hold of you. And
Yep.
if they want to get anything, is there any last words that you want to reach out to anybody to, if they come across anything, they can get a hold of you or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys can all text me 248-826-1533. That goes like right through my CRM, so I'll be able to like save your number in there and not lose it, which is great. Emails Nick at
Gotcha.
Bastianelli@team. You know where to find me on social media. I mean, legitimately, send me any commercial deal that you actually
Hmm.
think is. Please don't send me stuff that's like you already know is not going to work out. But if it's a
Gotcha.
cool deal, send it along. We will check it out. We'll find a way to get you involved if you send it to us.
Awesome. So great, awesome. I'm glad to have you. I really appreciate you spending the time with me and coming on here and adding value to everybody here. Hopefully you can at
Sure.
least get one deal out of it.
Yeah, I
So,
would love it. That would
you
be
know,
great. Thanks again for having me on.
yeah,
Totally worth it. I
yeah,
appreciate the time.
not a problem at all. So, and again, anybody out there who is watching this, whether you're on YouTube or on my Facebook channel, please connect with Nick, get a hold of him, send him deals, and we can go from there. That way we can all do deals together. So, all
Whoop,
right.
whoop. Let's do it up. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it a ton.
No problem. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Everyone, have a great day. And thank you for showing up for another episode of Real Estate Talk with Randy Stedwell. This is episode 4 in the books. Have a good day.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.